Hello, everyone who's coming in. Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. Give everyone just a moment or two. Feel free to stretch, stand up, go for a walk. Happy Wednesday. Good morning. All right. We still have a couple folks joining. I'm going to go ahead and kind of kick us off and get us started, though. Want to be respectful of everyone's time. So, hello, officially. My name is Katie Powell. I am a CareFirst Wellbeing Consultant, and I'm so thankful that you're here and that you've made the time to join us for Wellness Wednesdays. Today's topic, as you will see and probably already have an indication of, is pretty important. So as we continue to build upon our theme this year of achieving the healthiest you, we last month talked about vision and the importance of eye health. And now in May, we are going to spotlight mental health. Obviously, mental health is the kind of topic of May, and it absolutely deserves its own month. This month, we're going to emphasize the connection between nutrition, sleep, movement, in supporting brain and emotional function, health, overall well-being. We'll explore things like anxiety, depression, as well as burnout. And this session will cover ways that will help us slow down, reconnect, reduce stress, especially during the busy season. I have the utmost pleasure of introducing the Director of Behavioral Health, Jennifer. She is the Director of Behavioral Health at CareFirst. She is responsible for guiding the strategic vision, planning, and the execution of all behavioral health programs here at CareFirst aimed at improving healthcare equity, affordability, quality, and accessibility for CareFirst members across Maryland, the District of Columbia, and Northern Virginia. Jennifer has over 22 years of experience in community psychiatric services and organizational leadership. She's a dedicated advocate for mental health accessibility and quality. She works to further build CareFirst behavioral health offerings as well. As amazing as that, in addition, she holds a Master's of Social Work in Clinical Practice with Children and Families from the University of Maryland. And lastly, she is a clinical supervisor for the Maryland Board of Social Work Examiners, and she's a passionate advocate for mental health issues, destigmatizing mental health issues. Jennifer also happens to be a close friend and one of the most kind-hearted individuals. So we are all in for a huge treat. Jennifer, I'm going to give it to you.
Thanks, Katie. You're not supposed to make me cry before I start talking. But thank you. That's very, very kind of you. So good afternoon, everyone. My name's Jen Schugam. It's really an honor to be here with you today. And so I wanted to have a conversation with you all about mental health, navigating mental health and CareFirst resources. So just a little about me, Katie, what Katie just shared with you, but also I'm a single parent. I have two boys. I have a 20-year-old who is a sophomore in college, soon to be junior in college. And I have a senior in high school who's my baby. And so I don't know if any of you parents out there have seniors in high school. If you do, throw it in the chat. It is prom season. It is tennis season. It is graduation season. And springtime is a busy time for all of us at CareFirst. Yep, I see that. Hi, Chrissy. It is a thick time. It's busy. Our kids are stressed out. It's the end of the year. They have exams. And yep. Hi, I see you, Trinisha. Yep, Tony. Yep. Oh, 2025. There we go. Yeah, Deirdre. So we've all got a lot going on, and I don't know about you all, but we have a lot of work to do. We have really important work to do. I'm very passionate about it, and the people that we serve and the people that work with us. Um, and sometimes we work so hard and we run so fast that we forget to take care of ourselves. I know I do. And so I wanted to talk about that today so that maybe we can help each other. And oh, let's see. Oh, Monica's in there too. She's got a senior girl. Yep. Busy time of year. So thanks, everybody. I love seeing the chats and what's going on in your lives. So let's just dig in and get rolling on this. Oh, your daughter's get congratulations, Alice. Her daughter is getting married. Wow. Okay. So, mental health. Um, we all have mental health. My predecessor, Oleg, used to talk about this. So, everybody, as a human being, we've got a brain. Our brain is in our body. Oftentimes, I know that sounds silly, but for some reason in our culture, we have separated behavioral health and mental health from our physical somatic health. The truth of the matter is the brain runs the show in the body. And so if our behavioral or our mental health is off, everything is askew. That affects our nervous system, our organs, and our somatic health. And so it's critical that we start to really think about our body and our mind in the same house, and that one does they work together. We forget that, but it's true. And it's such a bit important thing. Only 1 in 20 people, though, meet diagnostic criteria for mental illness. So that's using the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. That's the book that we use. There have been several iterations over the years, and that is the book that gives us the list of diagnoses and the particular thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that allow for us to diagnose individuals. So, and this is the same number for us at CareFirst. 1 in 5 of our folks that we serve have a diagnosable mental illness. Of that 20%, 5% are folks that have a chronic condition that will require a higher level of care for treatment, typically inpatient or residential level of care. And sometimes even higher than just traditional outpatient. That could be intensive outpatient or partial hospitalization. So it's just important to remember that. You could be struggling with an issue. You could have a death of a loved one. You could have this really stressful time where you're really impacting you. Maybe you're not sleeping. Maybe you're not eating as well. Maybe you're, feeling kind of reactive, maybe a little more edgy than usual. And those are normal things. Where it starts to change for people is when it is over a period of time where the frequency and intensity of those things continue on for a period of time. And so just having those feelings doesn't mean that you're mentally ill. But if they are occurring like for longer than 6 weeks or longer than a month, if you have persistent symptoms, then you definitely would want to have that looked at. Next slide. So, treatment for mental health, there are so many things, and it's really cool that we have options for. We have medication, which for some folks that's all that's needed. They don't feel like they need anything else. It's a chemical issue, and medication can fix that. For some folks, therapy is critical. There are things that are unconscious or subconscious material. Maybe they've had a traumatic past. Maybe there have been in situations that have been difficult. Um, there are a lot of different reasons why people go into therapy, and there are lots of different kinds of therapy. There's talk therapy. So you may have heard of cognitive behavioral therapy or dialectical behavioral therapy. There's art therapy, there's dance therapy, there's animal assisted therapy. And then there are treatment modalities that are also helpful, like TMS, where they actually use magnets to redirect the energy in the brain, the electricity in the brain to help with chronic conditions. There are clinical trials going on right now at Shepherd Pratt and Hopkins for psilocybin. So if you've heard of magic mushrooms, they're actually studying that to see the impacts of the psychedelics on the reprocessing of trauma. They use very high doses of psilocybin to induce a hallucinogenic state when then trauma's processed. Yep, EMDR. I'm actually an EMDR clinician. Thank you, Chantel. EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization reprocessing, which is basically a protocol that was developed in the 90s by a woman named Francine Shapiro. And they use eye movement when you dream, REM sleep, your eyes move from side to side. And that's called bilateral brain stimulation. And this is a protocol that induces bilateral brain stimulation. And there are certain protocols, it'll call up certain memories and have you do what's called a float back, where you think about previous memories, maybe that are connected to what you're thinking about now. And then they put this bilateral brain stimulation protocol in practice, and it what we take periodic measurements and we actually reduce the intensity and frequency of traumatic memories and sensations in the body. So there are tons of different kinds of protocols, and there's new ones coming all the time. Maybe you've heard of ketamine. Maybe you have heard of, oh goodness, there's all kinds of good stuff going on. MDMA treatment. Um, there are a lot of different kinds. 12 weeks of excellent. TMS. Yep. It's great. And actually, and we'll move to the next slide. The medical director, the chief medical officer at Shepherd Pratt is from Brooklyn, Dr. Hahn. His background is in TMS. And there are new protocols for TMS. EMDR is different than brain spotting, but it's all based on trauma treatment. But Dr. Hahn is the CMO at Shepherd Pratt, and his background is in TMS. And there are new protocols. There's some called a Saint protocol out of Stanford. And this is actually looking at doing TMS in a shorter, typically it's a longer treatment time. This is condensed it into a short, it's like can't remember if it's like 12 days or something. It's like 10 hours a day with like hour breaks. And they're seeing an amelioration in symptomology. So good stuff out there. You all have access. Transmagnetic stimulation is what TMS is the abbreviation for. And that's basically where they use magnets to redirect energy in the brain. You have access to a clinical team internally. If you call the 800 number on the back of the insurance card, 800-245-7013, there are 15 behavioral health clinicians can answer any questions you have. If you need any kind of treatment, they will talk to you, and they will triage and make treatment recommendations for in-network providers that provide any of those services. So just know that's a resource available to you. We'll talk about it more later. This lady is stressed out. I don't know about you. She looks stressed to me. So these are what these things are for, is to help us function better in our lives and feel better in our lives. Historically, people, if they struggled with a mental illness, they just went into an institution, and it could be anything from postpartum depression to being floridly psychotic to, well, we won't even get into the social aspects where people had folks institutionalized, but for illegitimate reasons. But we don't have to do that anymore. We have access to care in our communities through our insurance program, where we can see professionals and we can get treatment. So it's a good time. It's a good time in our culture right now to be able to get the care that we need. Next slide. Does anybody look like this ever? I know I have, where you're kind of like on the couch with your pillow. My dog Walter is with me when I feel like this. Yep. Everybody's saying yes. We've all been there. This is what it looks like when you're feeling that way. And again, you may just have a day where you need to get on the couch and your teddy bear. Yep. You may need to get on the couch and curl up in a ball with your pillows and get warm and comfy and have a nap and rest. But if you're feeling like this for a prolonged period of time, reach out to us and let us help you. This should not be our everyday for a prolonged period of time. And part of that is stress management. We know now the impacts of long-term high stress on our body and mind. It impacts our sleep, it impacts our appetite, it impacts our blood pressure, it affects everything. Sometimes we eat more than we should. That can contribute to metabolic issues. Sometimes we don't eat enough. That can contribute to other issues. So we really want to keep an eye on these things and really check in with ourselves. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in the context of addiction when we get to that piece. Next slide, please. Stress at work. It's real. I loved what Katie said. She said, go for a walk. As much as I like to think these slides are fascinating, and I did put took my tank top off and put on a blouse for this presentation, I am not offended if you've got me on sound only and you are out enjoying this beautiful day and getting some exercise and fresh air. And if you're not and you can, please do it. The most important thing today is you, and to take away from this strategies and opportunities for self-care and to help you feel better as a human being, as a member of our society, and as also a CareFirst associate. You're important and we need you. We want you to be healthy. Next slide, please. So this is something that I wanted to talk about today because we don't talk about this very much. Now, in the United States, it is suggested that also that 20% of the total population has a substance use disorder. I think those numbers are higher. Um, I want to challenge everybody today. When you go, and I want you to just think about this, and you don't have to answer in the chat because I do want to honor your privacy. When you think about if you drink or if you use any kind of illicit substance or illegal substance, in Maryland, cannabis is legal. Are you honest about how much you use with yourself? You ever minimize it? And do you tell your doctor the truth about how much you use? And I want you to think about that because there's reasons. Well, I'm glad if you're honest about it, that's great. In insurance, there's a concept called moral hazard. And I learned this when I went to the University of Pennsylvania and took a healthcare management certification program. There's something called moral hazard, which is basically people are worried about the impact of their premiums of their insurance if they disclose things that are considered to be risky. And there are reasons for that. One could be an impact of what you believe would affect your premiums. Some people are concerned about the impacts of their job. And what we're talking about is stigma. People are concerned about the impacts in their community. It could be their social community, their family, their religious community, their children, the parents of other children. There are many, many reasons why people are not comfortable disclosing the extent of the use of substances. The reason I'm talking about this with you today is not a judgment about whether or not what you choose to do as an adult, but there are real effects of substances on us physiologically, and then that also has impacts on our mental health. So, for example, alcohol. Alcohol is a depressant. Most people know that. A lot of people use alcohol to fall asleep. But what they don't realize, and what the literature suggests, and I know this for myself, that if I have a glass of wine or two, I will fall asleep, but then I'll wake up in the middle of the night. And the research has actually shown this to be true, where alcohol actually will help folks fall asleep on the front end, but it negatively affects their sleep over time. And what we've learned more so than ever is the impact of sleep on our physical health and our emotional well-being is more important than we ever knew. And the reason why is what I talked about earlier with EMDR and bilateral brain stimulation. When you dream, when you get into a REM sleep state, it's the equivalent of your laptop cleaning out that trash can that's on your desktop. You know, when you need to recycle your papers and you're cleaning out your files and you're moving things around, you're like, I don't need that, I don't need that, I don't need that. You put them in the trash can. That is how our brain works. It stores up those files, that recycling. And then when you go to sleep and you get into REM sleep, your trash can gets cleaned out. So I just want you to remember that. So REM sleep is critical. Alcohol and cannabis negatively affect your ability for REM sleep. So there's a real issue for that. The other issue that we're seeing too is that people are not being honest. And it can be a function of alcoholism itself with how much they're consuming. There's a tendency to minimize or to have issues with denial as a function of substance use disorder. But what the latest research is suggesting is that a lot of medical issues are actually a result of undiagnosed and undisclosed substance use disorder, particularly alcohol. People are not comfortable talking about how much they drink. So when the doctor says, how much do you drink? People say, I drink a glass or two of wine a week, or maybe social, when maybe in reality they're drinking a bottle of wine. Again, no judgment from me, My challenge to you is to be honest with yourself about how you're taking care of yourself. There are programs there. We have a wonderful network of treatment programs that people can go to. It's confidential, and part of that is accessing our scheduling program through our 800 number on the BH 800 number. You can go directly to a vendor. It's confidential, and they will directly schedule you for substance use disorder treatment within 24 to 48 hours. And if that's not your jam, check out an AA meeting. They're online. There's an app that's called AA Intergroup. There are meetings 24 hours a day around the world. Join a meeting and talk to somebody if you're concerned about your alcoholism, or if how much you're drinking, or if you don't think you're an alcoholic, but you know that you drink more than you should, or maybe it's caused you problems in your life. I would recommend checking out a meeting for yourself to get support. The reason why I bring this up is that for our population, our commercial population, we have 5 times the higher incidence of alcohol than we do of opioid disorder. But we mostly talk about opioids and issues of opioids, and they tend to be fatal. But the issues that alcohol is having on our population is pretty substantial, but we really don't talk about it much. So I just wanted to bring that to you. Yep, Al-Anon, that's correct. There are several recovery programs. There are Al-Anon, there's adult children of alcoholics, there's Overeaters Anonymous, there's Narcotics Anonymous. There are a lot of recovery programs. They are free. And the anonymity is the foundation of those programs. And so if you're concerned in any way about that, you can access these programs. Go to Google, type it in, and you will get access to those programs. Next slide, please. I think I talked about this pretty significantly. So here's the dog that says, what do we do now? So I've brought up a lot of these issues. Let's talk about solutions. So navigating mental health. Next slide, please. Your grandparents are right. And this is what we've talked about a little bit today. We've talked about sleep. We've talked about, we haven't talked about exercise. So let's see. I didn't know there were groups for adults. Yes, they are. So it's called ACOA, is the group for adult children of alcoholics. So you can Google adult children of alcoholics or put in ACOA. About alcoholism. It says that alcoholism is less popular with younger generations. Let's hope that's true. One of the things that the younger generations have access to that we did not is that there are synthetic cannabinoids that are sold in public spaces like gas stations, and there are stores. So like there are CBD stores that have cannabinoids. They also have, there's a substance called kratom that induces psychosis. Very, very powerful brain altering chemicals that kids have access to now, that they can get their hands on differently than when, in my generation. And the way that the drugs are manufactured and synthesized, the science behind it, they're very, very powerful. So and that's not even looking at the fentanyl crisis and the drugs that are laced with fentanyl. So you're right, they don't have a lot of kids are choosing not to drink. There are other drugs that are in the marketplace that they have accessibility to, where there's a different level of lethality. That, yeah, kratom is nasty stuff. I worked in the state psychiatric hospital, and I don't know if you all know this. It's just a side tangent, and we'll get back to why your grandparents are right, but it's good information. So our state hospitals are where people from the jails come in if they're incompetent to stand trial. So I worked in the acute admissions unit at Springfield Hospital in Sykesville, and all of the patients that came to us were coming in from the jails, and they were not able to be restored to competency through the mental health treatment that they were getting while they were in the jail. So typically we would get people that were absolutely floridly psychotic and they were not responding to treatment. I can tell you a good number of those folks were psychotic because of synthetic marijuana, synthetic cannabinoids use. And it took weeks to get people stabilized. through intensive medication. And it's very, very difficult. And it was very young folks, and they were buying things at the gas station. They were buying things in these stores. So, and there's a perception that because it's legal, because you can buy it in the store, it can't be bad for you. It's not true. So we need to do a lot of education. So just wanted to, that was a tangent, but just so you know. Exercise is huge. Thank you, NZ. Exercise is huge. So let me know. At the gas station, they were buying synthetic cannabinoids. So they were called K2, Scooby snacks. They're packaged as if you go to the gas station and ask for synthetics, they'll give they're everywhere. Goat, so all kinds of stuff. Exercise. How many people have ever said they're too tired to exercise? Does anybody ever feel that way? Yeah. Like, I'm so tired that I don't have the energy to exercise because I'm so tired. I feel you. You're my people. I have been there with you. The funny thing about exercise is if you can get over the hump, you will have more energy. I just saw somebody put that in there. Um, when I had young children, I had a very hard time exercising. I was very overweight and it hurt. And I was exhausted, and I had little kids and I couldn't figure out how to balance it all. There are real challenges that make it difficult for us to do these things. So I get that. So I'm not a poster girl standing in front of you saying, just exercise. There are real reasons why people have difficulty with it. And in addition to that, what I will say is that the benefits that you get from exercise, if you can figure something out for yourself, to make it work for you. So whether you go on YouTube and you find something on there that you like, whether it's a dance class or a stretching class, whether you can go out for a walk during the day. If you work in the CareFirst buildings, they have gyms. I ride the bike up there on the 15th, it's the 15th floor in Canton. Um, and they have these awesome changing rooms with a shower. Now we need carpets in there and we need soap installed. But besides that, because I have to bring my own products, but there's no carpet, and that would be helpful. There you have to plan. You got to think about ways to get exercise in, and you can start small. Your wellness people, Katie Powell and her team, they can help you figure out strategies, real things to help you get carpets in the shower. Not in the shower, Matthew, outside of the shower. When you step out of the shower onto the carpet, that's because it's a slate floor and it's slippery, and then your feet are wet. So that's why. As I really did exercise. So anyway, just a recommendation. Chair yoga. Yep. There are so many things that we can do. There are a million. You've got apps through CareFirst, and Katie's going to go through those. But even if you're going for a walk or you walk your dog, where there's a will, there's a way. There are a million programs. And even if you're at home and you do something at home, you've got to find ways to move your body. I'm 52 years old and I do Pilates. I get a discount from CareFirst at Core Pilates Studio. And as a middle-aged woman that played two sports in college, and have been very overweight in my life, I have to be really careful about the exercise that I do because I don't want to be injured. And as you age, flexibility is really important. And for me, Pilates has been a life changer. I don't have back pain anymore. I'm more flexible than I've ever been. Yes, I will put the information in. You just basically go in and tell them you're a CareFirst employee. And I think they gave me a 20% discount at the Core Pilates studios. And they're in the Rotunda, they're in Hunt Valley. There's actually one in Canton as well, right next to the dog park across the street from the Starbucks. Just saying. Pilates is great for men and women. And just fun fact, Lamar Jackson, our quarterback for the Ravens, does Core Pilates on a reformer as well. And it was actually created by Joseph Pilates to rehabilitate war veterans that were injured in combat and were bedbound. They put springs on the corners of the four-post bed, and they used the springs to rehabilitate the body. And that's how it started. I'm getting to perma. Thank you, Rebecca. And so we will get there. it is really a wonderful way to build your body for muscle tone. It gives you cardiovascular endurance and flexibility. PERMA, we're getting there. PERMA is an outgrowth of the positive psychology movement. And this is basically 5 categories that look at your total well-being and how you can achieve well-being and what they call to be happiness in your life. Um, is it only for CareFirst employees? Are you talking about contingent workers may not get that? Is that what you're talking about? We can address that. We'll go into that.
So Jen, just real quick, this
Yeah.
presentation is for all CareFirst groups. So any client of CareFirst, we invite all of their employees that are welcome to come. So there'll be some CareFirst wellness offerings at the end that may or may
Yep.
not pertain to everybody, but just kind of an FYI.
Thank you, Katie. Thank
Yeah,
you, Katie.
of course.
Yeah. Can't hurt to ask, but I'll tell you, it's worth every penny. I'll just say that. So for PERMA, this is an outgrowth of the work of Martin Seligman from University of Pennsylvania. And so the idea was that, historically, folks felt that the psychiatry perspective was more based on pathology rather than looking at strengths and the positive components of folks. And so this is really where this model comes from. And what the idea is that there are these 5 different categories that if you can engage in these in your life, you will have a more fulfilling life. You will have better interactions and achieve an overall better sense of wellness. They are experiencing positive emotions. And this is by experiencing things like gratitude. Gratitude is a practice, which I never understood. And I've learned that recently, where you take an inventory of your life and you look at all of the things that are working good for you. So another way of saying that is some folks say counting your blessings or looking at the things that are working in your life, and experiencing things that give you pleasure, doing things that make you feel good. So exercise can be one of those for me. I love me some Pilates and I love going to the YMCA. I love to swim, it makes me happy. Love walking my dog. I love cooking sometimes. There's just things that you have to think about what it is for you as an individual. What is it that gives you, when you're doing something, that you achieve a positive state? The next is engagement. This is doing things that you love and you get lost when you do it. So back to exercise, but this is legit for me. So like when I make these awesome, I come from the generation of mixtapes where you really like somebody, you'd make a mixtape. Well, I make myself mixtapes now on YouTube. I make playlists and I get on my elliptical trainer and I actually close my eyes when I work out. When I work out, and man, I'm in the zone. I go into the songs and I love it. And I can do 45 minutes on there. It feels like nothing. That's what is called getting into the flow. Some people do that when they garden. Some people do that when they are engaged in an activity that they love. When you're running, exactly, Lacey. Whatever it is, if people want to put in the chat, what are some things that you are into where you just go into the zone and you're in your happy place? That's engagement. That's PERMA. And we want to get into that zone. We want to do activities where we can get into that zone and achieve that sense of flow. You're not crazy for closing your eyes. I actually I would spin with my eyes closed. And the instructor's like, open your eyes. I'm like, why? I'm not going anywhere. The movie, yep, love that. I haven't seen that. I'd like to see that. Relationships. And this, yep, dance and bar classes. This is positive relationships. The bath, perfect. These are relationships that make you feel good. That can be with your family, can be with your friends, can be with your community. It can be a support group, a recovery group. It can be an intimate relationship, whatever that is for you, but a relationship that gives you joy, where you feel a sense of connection with another person, you feel cared for, and you can give that person care. That is what that's talking about. The next is meaning. What do you believe in your life? Why do you do what you do? And this is for each person to answer for themselves. What gives you meaning? I can tell you, for me, I'm a clinical social worker, and I became a social worker when my mother got sick. And I actually was working in technology, and I had a great career, was very successful. But my work didn't mean anything to me. meaning that I didn't feel like I was making a difference in the world and that I was missing time with the people that I loved to do something that I didn't feel was contributing in a way that was important to me. And so I changed my career and I became a social worker. And if you work with me, you will hear me say I am a clinician. That is my guiding principle. My job is to serve other human beings in any way that I'm needed. And that's what gives my life meaning and that's what gives my work meaning. So maybe for you, whatever it is that your job is or whatever it is that you do, it doesn't have to be your job. It can be anything for you. What makes your life meaningful to you? And if you've never thought about it, think about it. Get on your go running and zone out and think about it. Or totally kidding. Think about what's going to give your life meaning and make the work that you're doing important in whatever dimension that is. And then the last one is achievement. You got to have goals. Grandkids. Oh, I hope I have grandkids one day. I'm really hoping for that. Achievement, reaching your goals. What are your goals? What do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish? And again, that's an individual thing for you. Maybe you want to go back to school. I just was at the Culture of Health Fest. Oh, congratulations, Dawn. That's awesome. I was just at the Culture of Health Fest in Mondamin. It was the first time I'd been in that building. And if you haven't been there, man, it's beautiful. Go. But I sat next to a woman at the table who is, oh, congratulations, Catherine, who was sitting next to me who works for University of Arizona. And the program that we have for them to go to school is unbelievable. So if you want to go back to school, or if you want to join some kind of a particular group, or say you have a physical health goal that you want to achieve, or you want to get more involved in volunteering, there are a million things that you can do. But these are what give your life meaning. They give you a sense of well-being and purpose. And people report when they engage across these five, and this is work that's actually been done and measured through Penn. When people engage across these five domains, they experience a greater level of joy and happiness in their life. So that's what PERMA is. Next slide, please. Mindfulness. Last year I did this and we actually did a meditation. So we're not going to do that this year because I'm talking too much and we've got more content to cover and Katie's going to be giving you resources, which is really awesome. But the thing that I hear the most from folks about meditation is they're like, I tried it and I can't do it. And I'm here to tell you, I thought that too, because my mind would wander. That's actually part of meditation. There are different programs out there for meditation. There are apps on the CareFirst. You can do guided meditation where you put your headphones on and you actually listen to someone walk you through. People fall asleep. That's fine. It's all about finding what works for you. For some people, there are programs called transcendental meditation where they actually will give you and that's what I practice. They actually will give you a word, and that is your mantra. And just so you know, if you pursue transcendental meditation, you might meet with people that want to sell you a mantra for a couple $1,000s. I'm going to tell you there are two that I can give you for free. One is the word this, and the other is the word and. They don't mean anything, meaning that when you say the word this, for me, it doesn't conjure any kind of imagery or situation or occurrence. And the same for the word and. And you just repeat that word to you. And guess what? Your mind is going to go left. Your mind is going to go right. I'm meditating. The next thing I know, I'm in 7th grade softball and I am full on remembering something or whatever. And then the next thing I know, I'm back to the word this. That is meditation. So if your mind wanders while you're meditating, you're not doing it wrong. That's actually meditation. As you continue to do it, your mind will become, your mind will change how you do it. But the important thing is to not judge yourself or get angry or get down on yourself or criticize yourself for your mind wandering. That's normal for being human. I know, Debbie, I'm with you. I thought I couldn't do it forever. And then I did it and I was like, oh my God. And you feel great after you meditate. It's a really powerful thing. So if you have questions, I am happy to do. If this is just a sidebar. If we ever want to do a meditation at lunch, like I'll do meditation on Zoom with people. Yeah, sure, Dorothy. we can do a meditation online or whatever. I'm cool with that. Or check out the CareFirst resources Katie's going to talk about there. And on YouTube, there's a woman, her name is Bella Ruth Napperstack. Try and spell that. It's Naperstack. She does guided meditation. She's fascinating. It's free and it's on YouTube. You can listen to it, lay down, or go for a walk, put your headphones on, and she'll take you for a ride. And there's all kinds. There's some for stress reduction, some for trauma, some for relationship healing. There's something on there for everyone. So explore your resources. Next. Oh, and the thing, yeah, I'll put it in the chat. The thing that I didn't talk about on the last slide, though, is breathing. The number one thing that we do when we're stressed out or we get scared or we have anxiety is we stop breathing. We hold our breath. Um, like if I'm rushing around and I'm going from place to place to place, I actually hold my breath and I don't even know I'm doing it. So part of what we're talking about is being mindful. And so I would challenge everybody today, just try it today or today. If you are in a situation or you're doing something where you're like getting tense or you're rushing is a big one for me because I'm always rushing. I always feel like I have to do everything really fast. Challenge you to try to remember just to take one really big deep breath and just see if you see how it goes for you. Social well-being and connection. People are reporting that alienation and loneliness is hurting them more than anything in their lives at this time. Feeling disconnected from other human beings, feeling scared. I have, I hear a lot about people talking about the news and politics and how I hear it all the time from people. Things are crazy. Things are really upside down. Things are really hard right now. And I'm not saying that's not true, and how that's impacting people. There are so many things going on in our world and in our country right now that are really affecting people. And what I would say is the antidote to that is good connection, empathy, listening, and being kind. Yep, Chantel, that's right too. Whatever your higher power or whatever your contact, your creator, your maker, those connections, positive connections, intentional connections are so important. And we have to choose to do those things because we're busy and we've got a lot going on. And I don't know, sometimes I find that I'm rushing and I will mean to reach out to someone and I'll forget. My mother just had her knee replaced a month ago, and my sisters and I have been in and doing care because she really needs round the clock care after she had the surgery. And and I was supposed to go out of town for work, and as I told you earlier, my son's like got all kinds of stuff. We're really busy, and I don't know that I gave it as much attention as I should have. I mean, I did what I could do and I was there, but a lot of times I was in my mind and I was doing other things and I wasn't as intentional or as present as I wanted to be. So, all of that is to say that this is one of those things that we all have to work on our connection and where we can plug in and be of service to other people and also allow other people to. You are so welcome, Bernadette. Thanks for joining today. How we can support others and how they can support us. 25% of adults are reporting they don't have any social or emotional support. None. That's really sad, because we are social beings. Human beings are social beings. And the thing is, there are great resources out there. And the best thing you can do, and the research supports this, if you are feeling alienated and disconnected, is to do something for somebody else. So get involved in your community. There's volunteer work. Right now, May is the United Way month. I didn't know this, but the United Way used to be a pass-through service where they would just refer people out. They're actually providing services. And we have ERG. Thank you, Heather. We have tons of ways to volunteer. And if you are feeling alienated and you are feeling disconnected from other people, do something for someone else. It is a great way to feel better yourself and you're helping someone else. Next slide, please. sleep and mental health, quality sleep. This is a big deal. My program manager, Ashley Johnson, who you all have seen because she is a superstar, she is in charge of monitoring how much coffee I drink on a regular basis because I definitely drink too much. Um, Bedtime. Light, you have a gland in your brain called the pineal gland. Its job is to look for light. It is part of your circadian rhythm network in your brain. And if you go to bed and you've got a television on and your phone is bright and you've got lights on, your brain is in an active state. So having screens off there, I used to see this all the time. I was a mobile treatment therapist for 15 years in Baltimore. And when I would go into the home, a lot of parents had the television on to help their children fall asleep. It keeps your kids awake actually, because it's causing stimulation. Screens get us stimulated, and it's hard. I wake up in the middle of the night a lot, so just because of the season of my life, and I always want to know what time it is, and I don't have a clock, so I hit my phone screen, and then the light comes on. Um, we have to practice. We all have. I have my phone with me all the time. I know we all do. Um, we've got to get off, and that means Instagrams and the Facebook and the TikTok reels and all that stuff of the cat videos that I love so much, that we all love. We have to put our phones down and make a space where we sleep. So we shouldn't be working in our bed. Really, sleep should be sleep and love for our beds. Everything else should be in another room in the house. And keeping the lights off, exercise will help you sleep. And then also not drinking caffeine. Now, when I was in college, I could drink coffee to stay up to sleep, and I'd still to study, and I'd still fall asleep. But now, at this point in my life, it doesn't work. So alcohol, caffeine, and eating large meals before you go to bed are going to keep you awake, because your body is going to be metabolizing the food or responding to the stimulant. So these are things that you can do to help you get better quality sleep. But again, if you need help, your wellness consultants can help you with that. Or if it's a real serious problem, you can talk to your doctor about it. You need sleep to process all of the unconscious material that your brain is taking in all day. I mean, think about through the course of the day, all of the things that you're hearing and seeing that you're not even aware of. Your brain is processing that information. So when you go to sleep, REM sleep, your brain is clearing out the trash can. You need that. Otherwise, what happens when the trash doesn't get taken out? Your cans are overflowing. We don't want that. We need your cans to be empty. Get your REM sleep. You wake up, you're refreshed, your body is rejuvenated. I learned this. My oldest son was in the NICU. He was very premature, and the nurses allow you to do care every 3 hours, and that is because they want the babies in REM sleep, because that is when their growth hormones are secreted, and that's how their bodies grow and regulate. It's no different for us as adults. It's critical for us, for our health, to have good sleep. Next slide, please. Yeah, we're all on our phones. What I would say, if you have to pick two, no phones at the dinner table. There's a really funny Progressive commercial about that. No phones at the dinner table, or phone screen down. Nobody's on the phone, and phones off before bed. And if you have iPhones and others, there's ways you can power them down, because when you go, if your kid has their phone in their room and they go to bed and you don't have that, they're on their phone. You can pretty sure that's happening. Nutrition, and the wellness people are are really the experts in this. Diet is critical for brain chemistry, mood, overall well-being. You know, if you're eating, it's like computers, garbage in, garbage out. There are so many foods that are out for consumption that are not even real food. It's just chemicals. We don't know. I mean, we do know it's not good for us. Whole food diet. They say the Mediterranean diet is best for our physical well-being. But if you have questions, Katie Powell and her team are here, and they can help you with that, how to make better choices and make sure you're getting proper nutrition. And that is key, absolutely key for overall wellness. Next slide. Resources. Okay, so this is what I would say. This is the 800 number. This is on the back of your insurance card. This is the 800 number for behavioral health. You can call us. This number is available 24/365. Now, our clinical team is available Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., but we do have a vendor that answers calls from 5 o'clock till 8:59 in the morning. Live clinicians that are available for crisis intervention. Um, the other thing that you can do when you call into this 800 number is on the phone tree, you press option 2 for substance use recovery. That goes to a live clinician, 365, 24/7. They will do a motivational interview and they will schedule you for substance use disorder treatment within 24 to 48 hours. They are partnered with our facilities that are part of our cost share waiver program. So if you have that benefit, your copays for IOP level of care, if you require that, are waived. We want people to go to IOP if they need it for substance use disorder. But our clinical team is available to talk to you. If you don't know what you need, even better, you call us. We are trained as licensed clinicians to talk to you to figure out what you need. And that's for anyone on your policy. So give us a call. We will help you figure that out. We will connect you with in network resources, and that's for all levels of care, whether it's an inpatient crisis intervention or getting an outpatient therapist for therapy or medication, and everything in between. So give us a call and we're happy to help you. Next slide. Navigator. That's what I was talking about. Navigator is that option 2 on our phone tree, and that is to get a live clinician. They will triage, do a motivational interview, determine what level of care is appropriate, and then actually schedule that service for you. They are connected into the scheduling software of the facilities that partner with us. And so they can go in and that's how they can give you that live appointment and get you scheduled. They know what's available and they can schedule you within 24 to 48 hours. There are in-person options and there are virtual options. They will talk to you and figure out what you need and then get you connected to the appropriate level of care in the way that works best for you. Some people have jobs and children and things, and they can't go inpatient, and that prevents them from getting care. They will talk to you and figure out how to make sure that you can get what you need. Next slide. Do they have to be on? No, if you were a CareFirst member, you can call in to the 800 number and they will work with you. They also work with other payers. How to get the best CPT treatment, call us at the 800 number and ask for a clinician, one of our clinicians, and they'll connect you. Because there's more questions that we need to ask you in order to make that kind of a recommendation, but give us a call and we'll do it. Gender services. It is very important for everyone to know at this particular time that we do have a gender services clinician. Annette Callahan is that person. She is our internal network expert. She knows who our gender affirming physicians are. She is specially trained in gender affirming care and working with populations to help folks access care. And so if you are in need of that particular kind of support or someone on your policy, again, call in the 800 number and you can get directly connected with Annette and get she can actually do care planning and case management for those services and make sure that you have what you need. Next slide. High risk maternity. This is really important work. This is going on across the medical and behavioral health continuums. If you or anyone on your policy is a pregnant person or a peripartum or postpartum mother and you are in need of any kind of assistance, whether you feel like you have the baby blues, if you're just feeling like you're having trouble sleeping and you're not sure what to do, we have a care manager who is specifically assigned to work with our moms. And we are also reaching out 6 months postpartum to check in to see if anything is needed. What we find is that, there are a lot of people involved when women are pregnant and shortly after the pregnancy. But about 6 months postpartum is when, I don't know about you, but that's when things start to get hard because you've got other kids, you're back to work, you're not sleeping because you're feeding. It's hard. And then there with hormone fluctuations at that time. Thank you, Mallory. At that time, we find that's when things really start to reveal themselves. So we want to reach out to everyone and make sure they have the support that's needed. Next slide. We're here. We want to support you. Give us a call. You have our website. I think, if you don't know where to go, you can get in touch with us or call the 800 number and we will get you there. One call is all you need to do. I think that's it. Thank you, Sarah. Katie, is it your turn? I think it's your turn.
Let's see. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I will very quickly go through these. CareFirst Wellbeing, depending on your employer, you may have access to our CareFirst Wellbeing platform, which is your one-stop shop for everything health and well-being. It includes taking your health assessment, a personalized timeline feed, lots of cool features such as tracking challenges, a unique health profile, and access to our programs. The next slide is this is the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline 988, anytime, anywhere. If you feel it, if you've identified anyone, this is free. If it's confidential, it is there for you. Inspiration. So I think the next one is also unwinding. These are features within the CareFirst Wellbeing program that can support your mental health, your stress, your well-being, all of those different areas, free to those that have CareFirst Wellbeing. We also have health coaching. I'm not going to go into this, but if you do have access to health coaching, lifestyle management is open to everyone. It is a telephonic program, and you can talk to your health coach and set goals around things like mental health, stress, things such as that. All right. Thank you, everyone, so much for attending. Thank you, Jen, for literally one of the most amazing presentations. I don't know about so many of you, but there are so many things that you said that just made me feel like I'm not alone and that this is normal. So lucky to have you. Thank you for your expertise, for your kindness, for your work. Everyone, we hope you have a happy, healthy, beautiful day, week, weekend, year, and we will see you back in June for our next Wellness Wednesday webinar. Bye, everybody.